back to keep us company this week, Grammy-nominated Sam Hunt with another song headed to the top of the charts. How have you been?
I've been good.
Yeah?
Been enjoying a little time off, and we're back on the road now. So I would say I feel refreshed, but that was about 6 weeks ago, and I had a new baby get here. So past 6 weeks, I haven't gotten a whole lot of sleep, but I'm still on cloud nine. This is my third one in 3 years. So I'm having a big old time.
What did you guys have?
A little boy.
A little boy.
Mm-hmm.
What did you name him?
Wayman is his name. Wayman Allen. It's a whole family name. But
are they both family? Because most of the kids, your other two kids, have family names too,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, they're both family names. My dad's actually named Allen.
Is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Got
then
it.
Wayman goes a little further back.
Did you guys know what you were having, or did you wait and were you surprised?
We knew this time.
Okay.
We did the surprise thing on the second one, which I'm all for, but Hannah, she kind of likes to know, and I get that. You know?
Yeah, as far as like planning and nursery and all that stuff, it makes it just a little bit easier.
And then the baby, for 9 months is a he or she, or 7 months, whenever you find out, is a he or she instead of it.
Yeah.
It's like you're just a little more connected.
It sounds weird.
Yeah, I know it.
How are the kids doing with the baby?
They're doing well. They seem to be adjusting. They're getting old enough now to, they'll just kind of go off and do their own thing, and still they understand that they need to be gentle and not so rambunctious around the baby. They're learning that, but they're getting better at it. So yeah, we're all getting along well.
Like you said, 3 in 3 years. I think Lucy's like 3.5.
She's a little over 3 now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So 3 under 3 has got to be what has been like the wildest thing about jumping from 2 to 3.
I think with like new baby and mama, like new baby needing so much time with Hannah that I have to be the distraction for the other two kids. So, I'm pretty good with them, but it's been rare up to this point that I've had them really like just me without Hannah close by. So all the little things like, Weezy, where are your where are your shirts, or where are your shoes? All these little things that Hannah's always doing, like getting them dressed and that sort of thing. I have to now I needed to know these things, but I have learned how to manage on my own.
Every dad has been where you are. Like where I remember my dad, I need a ponytail, and my dad being like,
I don't even know where to start. Yeah.
Is Weezy able to like help you though through some of that stuff?
Yeah, she is actually, because I can ask her now, and she can tell me where things are and how she likes things done. Which is another. She's very particular about everything. So I try to be patient to some degree, but she can be a little Miss Independent, so I'm having to find that line between accommodating her particularities and laying the law down, because we got to get these teeth brushed.
We certainly do. And I know the last time we had talked, you were saying like hopefully like in the next few years you could take a little bit of a break from touring. I think kind of once they start to go to school. Is that still kind of your plan? Yeah,
and figuring out where to land with school and like where we want to be exactly. I love where we are in Middle Tennessee, but in the back of my mind, I've always thought, when the kids are at a certain age, do I want to move back to Georgia? That's home. My parents are down there. So we've got a couple years to figure that out, because once they get going with school, you don't want to move them around too much. So we're still working on that.
I feel like you have found, at least from the outside looking in, it seems like you have found a good balance of like releasing music, touring, and then having the time to be at home with them. Do you feel like you found that?
Yes, I do. And honestly, the pace that I'm keeping in terms of my music and touring, now I was concerned that it wouldn't be enough to maintain, the connection with the fans and the ability to go out and play these venues that we've played in the past. But it's been amazing to to have fans that after 10 years, hopefully we've made some new fans along the way, but still come out to shows. And even when maybe I haven't been to their city in 2-3 years, or maybe I haven't put out as much music as some of the other artists on the radio, but they're still showing up. So it really has given me some relief in terms of, the pace that I have set, or, at least the, my time and attention, being able to give more of it to my family, because my career requires a little less because I've got this loyal, dedicated fan base. So
yeah, no, that's amazing. And I talk to so many artists about this all the time. Like, you're just trying to find the balance of like how to have this life and trace this chase the stream but also be home, and like it is a hard thing to manage. So I'm very happy to hear that you feel like you've got a grasp on it.
I'm in a good place, so I feel really good about it.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Well, let's talk about Country House. This song headed to the top of the charts. Talk about the story behind this song and the inspiration for it.
Yeah, this is one that when I started writing it, I thought about my little cabin in the woods where I have lived for several years now. You know, we're about to outgrow it. I love it so much. It's rustic and minimalistic, but it's I don't know how many square, not a whole lot of space. So poor Wheezy, who's 3 now, is living in or sleeping in a little makeshift nursery. It's not much of a nursery. It's like it should be a bathroom, but we've tried to convert it into a comfortable little space. But she's getting old enough now to where she really needs to be sleeping somewhere other than this converted bathroom.
Right, like you said, she's real particular. She's gonna want.
She's done well so far, but yeah, she deserves that. And so we're gonna have to figure out what to do because we're running out of space with 3. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's
but
great.
Yeah, sorry, but you asked about Country House. So
I was like, what did I ask about? You were writing it about the house.
So about where we live now, and and just more of the lifestyle of just being, married with kids and out in the woods and raising the kids and just content, so that was sort of the inspiration behind the song. I love it started with the title, just Country House, and a lot of songs start with just a phrase that, I hear it or I see it written down and it just jumps out at me, like it sort of screams like this is supposed to be a song that's a part of your catalog. So let's go. And once I zero in on an idea like that, I'll take the time to try to get the song right. And that's kind of how this song came about.
Are you one that, like, if it comes to you got to stop exactly what you're doing and like go write it down or like get through the idea, or like can you hold on to it?
I can hold on to it and kind of put it in a folder and then revisit it, because even that song I probably looked at it 2 or 3 times to try to get the lyric dialed in just right. But the vocal on it, I sang that vocal down on one of the early writes and thinking, this would be a placeholder, but it turned out to be the final vocal. A lot of times, down the road, you go back to try to sing a song that you started 6 months prior, and you're not able to capture that feeling somehow that you felt when you first started the song, when it was fresh on your mind. So, that's the original vocal that I just kind of sang sitting there in a chair, which typically you'd go into a booth and get everything just right. And so that's been the case with a lot of songs in the past. There's something about that demo quality that you can never really replicate when you go try to get too formal with the final production. So yeah, it's got that. It feels that way though. I think it feels simplistic and sort of off the cuff, which is kind of a theme for me on a lot of my music.
No, I think it's great, and I really appreciate that you do that, because nothing is worse than like when you hear something like, this is a little overdone, or something. Like, it's great that you can just like recognize it and be like, I don't need to perfect this. It's perfect being imperfect. Yeah, and like I would have never known that was a demo. Yeah,
it turned out. I think my producer Michael Lawton did a great job on it, but it feels relaxed, and it's meant to. So I'm glad that hopefully that comes across.
For sure. And then talk about Liberty. That's like your latest release.
Yeah, that was that song is so for about 2 years I put out songs one at a time, and that would be the last song of that batch of songs. And I thought about bundling them up as an album, even though they're all already out, just for the future's sake. Looking back, I can kind of categorize the different chapters. But it's one that I don't know that it blends in with the other songs. I guess it fits in. It's one that I wrote back in 2020 and never planned on putting out, which I have quite a few songs that I'll write without thinking, about my own project. It's more of a therapy session, and I'll just kind of get these songs out of my system and not worry about whether they'll ever go on a record or not. And this was one of those. But it's one that I feel is a little more authentic in terms of coming from a place that's like I didn't have my Nashville songwriter hat on when I wrote it, so it comes across a little more from me, I guess than from like songwriter me who's trying to make a puzzle that's cool that'll work for the fans and for radio. So anyway,
you mentioned like you put out a few songs like every year here for the last couple of years. And I think your last full-length album came out in 2020. So is that the next goal, or is your goal to keep just like putting a couple songs out every year?
Yeah, I would like to make a full album and put out a full album. There's something about that you can capture with an album, the way, like, I feel like I was able to do that with my first album. Like take the time on the songs, and then take the time in the studio within a short amount of time with the same guys and the same players and the same approach, so that there's some continuity. And I'd really like to be able to do that. And the folks who've supported us over the years have, I hear from them a lot of times that they want me to put out an album as opposed to singles. And so and I understand where they're coming from with that, and I think I owe them that. So I want to do that on this next project.
It's always wild to me. Like, in my mind, you have out 5 or 6 albums. And it's like you have out 2 complete albums. But like, I remember even thinking this when you sold out Madison Square Garden. I was like, Sam Hunt has Montvallo, and that, like, not many people can say that at that point.
Well,
in
I'm
their career.
so grateful for that album and the response, because it still is the bedrock of everything I've been able to do since. Even to this day, when we tour, that album really holds down our live set, and it's just the miles that I've been able to get out of that album have really just been incredible for me.
That was 10-year anniversary
this past
fall,
year,
which is great. Which sounds like a long time and not long enough to me, and I'm sure you kind of feel the same way.
I know 10 years. The idea of 10 years back when I put that album out, I don't even think I was 28 maybe, and I was 10 years prior would have been 18. Like, that's a huge difference, and still a pretty big difference between how old I am now. But 10 years later, I guess I was 29. But but a decade, I can kind of wrap my head around a decade now. It's and it doesn't feel like that long of an amount of time, especially when I think about what I would have thought about 10 years back when I was in my 20s.
Right.
It would seem like a lifetime.
I know, right? You celebrated your 40th in December. Was 40 easy for you, or did you have a hard time with it?
Yeah, it was. I think, once I got into my 30s, it was, clinging to youth didn't feel like something I needed to do. It was almost like, I can't wait to, I feel like my youth is going to kill me. Like, I can't wait to want to go home early and not stay out because I've got FOMO, and I'm going to miss the hang tonight. So, and just being content and at peace on all fronts, because that youthful, frenetic energy can be great for getting things done. But, when you get a little older, you want some peace, stability, routine. And so I've been able to find a lot more of that in the last few years.
It feels like that. I feel like I hear that in the music. I also feel like visually, I feel like you've got this new look, all this, even in this photo, I'm like, you look like you're in a barber ad. But
yeah, I know. I think I was telling somebody this morning, I think it's my final form. I've experimented with different looks over the years, but inevitably I was going to turn into my dad, so I think that day has finally come.
It happens to everyone at some point in time, and you're like, this is it.
Yeah, that's right.
It was so funny. I was looking back at old interview clips getting ready for this, and I was cracking up because I had asked you a question about, have you ever been mistaken for another celebrity? And at the time you said Travis Kelce. And at that moment I had no idea who that was. And it was been so funny. And I was like, I'm curious if you are getting that more now because he's more visual.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that in a while. But yeah, I feel like all of a sudden in the last 2 years you see him everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, and I've changed my, he kind of has that I don't know what you would call it, the style, street style a little bit.
He's got a real vivey street style.
Yeah. So I've kind of, I don't want to say evolve. It sounds like that's a less evolved way to dress, but I'm in a different chapter of life, and so I think it has a lot to do with the clean cut beard, the lines, and the outfits, the baggy clothes, and the Jordans and all that. So maybe that's why I don't get it quite as much. For
sure. Well, song headed to the top of the charts. I know you said you're thinking about this next project. Are you writing for this next project yet? Do you feel like you've taken direction for it?
Yeah, I have. I made a point to write before the baby got here in March and April, and was able to make some progress, and have to turn it off when I tour. I just burn myself out if I try to do both.
Yeah, that's a lot.
This fall I'm gonna give another chunk of time to the project, and then do the same thing in the spring of next year. And I'm hoping by then I'll have close to an album. I'd say I'm halfway through right now.
Do you feel like it has a direction, or you kind of like know what the tone of the album will be?
Yeah, I think so. It feels like the next chapter. I think just thematically and just the approach. The one component I've got to figure out production wise what to do next. I'm at a point where I'd like to, I don't know if evolve's the right word, but to lean into a more organic sound. So I'm trying to decide like how important is some of the musical elements I've used in the past. How important is that to the sound going forward? You don't want to break with what has gotten you here, but at the same time, that youthful sound, I don't want to be the old guy trying to do the young thing. So I've got to find, that'll be my next, I think, adventure is not necessarily the songs, but how to record them, what they should sound like.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to hear that. Always such a big fan of whatever you're working on. What about rest of 2025? We're over the halfway mark now. Like, what are you most excited about that you got coming up or looking forward to?
I've got a couple for years. I'm so unorganized. I've wanted to take time to take a couple trips with my parents and the kids and my brothers and their kids. So I have been like Mr. Trip Planner this year. Like,
really,
I've taken the time to like, all right, I'm gonna book this place, this trip for whatever 8-10 days, and if y'all can make it, come on. I'm gonna make it available. And so luckily, we're all going on a trip early August, and then this fall we've got another trip out west that we're gonna do. So I've been putting vacations off forever, and it's just time to start living a little bit.
How has it been planning a trip for this many people?
I've done a poor job. I probably should have hired somebody to help with that, but I stayed we're going to Sea Island, Georgia, where I might have a family down there. So I'm familiar with that area, and it's not too far from everybody.
Easy beach trip.
So I try to keep it easy and accessible and familiar, nothing too crazy. So yeah, I've got everybody on board right now.
That'll be really fun, Sam, and that'll be like really special summer memories. And like you said, it's hard to make the time for that, but it is so important, especially with like the age the kids are at now.
Yeah, you got to just do it, or else it won't get done. And we, every Christmas we're like, all right, this year we're going to do it, and that's 5 years in a row and nothing. So
yeah,
finally taking the initiative.
Well, good for you. Thank you so much for coming in to see
us.
So happy to see the song doing well, and excited to hear what you're working on next.
I appreciate it.
Sam Hunt,
thanks for having me.
Hey, it's Katie. Thank you for watching. See more interviews, performances, and more of your favorite artists by subscribing and downloading the free Audacy app.